Well, it's been a minute since I've done a Q&A, and I asked you all on Instagram stories to submit some questions. I've rounded up a bunch of them right here on my phone, so I'm going to go through and answer some of them for you. I've got a lot to answer, so I'm just going to dive right in. My kids are here with a sitter. My cat is here. I'm going to do my best to eliminate any background noise, but if you hear that, that's what's going on. All right, so the first question I got is, what has blogging taught you? There's so much background to provide here, but I started my blog in 2011, and it was just kind of a random mix of things I liked, the small things that brightened my day. And then I started sharing video hair tutorials that year as well, and I got to see really quickly that those were helpful for a lot of people. So that's what got me started, and then now bring us to here, which is 2020. Blogging has taught me so much. I had no idea this was what I would do. I was doing hair in a private studio, had my own business, and really loved that and thought I would just do that until I had children. And then my plan was to just be a stay-at-home mom if that was something that Justin and I were able to swing. But I loved my work so much and got to really create this dream job of being able to stay in the beauty world and provide beauty help and advice and tips and tricks and tutorials via my website and now social media, and also stay at home with the kids. So as of right now, the small things, the social channels, the website, all of it is my main gig. It has done so well and I've enjoyed it. Justin has quit his job, that was a couple years ago, to one, start his own business, and two, be able to have a more flexible schedule to kind of step back and let me run with my career. So I'm really grateful for that. So anyway, that's a quick backstory of how I got here. There's a lot more that went along with that, but the question is, what has blogging taught you? And in thinking about my answer here, the number one thing of the, innumerable amount of things that I've learned from this is that there is so much deep and important value to learning about other people and other things, hearing different perspectives, having my eyes open to different experiences. I just feel like the internet in general has provided me opportunities to get to know and learn about other people and other things and just open my mind more. So that was the biggest thing. Like, what if I didn't have the website, right? And I didn't have social media and I didn't have all these connections online, I would be pretty limited to like my own circle. I would maybe be doing hair, so I would have my clientele and I would have my friend group. But the internet and having like a personal connection with so many people online has taught me just so much and opened my eyes to just the variety that life has for so many different people. I know that might be kind of vague, but that was the biggest thing. Y'all asked a lot of blogging questions. How do you stay positive with trolls? I hate that word, trolls. It sounds so like juvenile. I get it, but I just hate that word. So you'll never hear me talk about like, here's what I'm doing about my trolls. Like, come on. How do I stay positive with trolls is the question. And I just don't mess with people that are having a problem with me. It's really actually kind of simple. I don't read other websites. I don't engage. I have better things to do. My time is better spent on other things than engaging with people, especially people that are talking about me on other sites. Like, they don't want to talk to me. They want to talk about me. My going there is not the end goal. It's not of value for me. So how do I stay positive with the trolls? I don't really care. And I don't mess with them. So it's really easy to stay positive. Another question on positivity is, how are you so body positive? That phrase is kind of also something I'm like, but it's your body. I'm a really like black and white thinker, and I guess my answer to the question is I'm positive about my body because my body allows me to do so much. My body carried 3 perfect children. I loved being pregnant so much, and I exercise, I get to go places. I really look at it as what it is, which is a vehicle that allows me to do so many things that I love. Are there certain parts of my body that I don't love? Yes, for sure. But I don't let that control my life. It doesn't ruin my day. I'm way more interested in being healthy than looking a certain way, because I know just looking a certain way is really like an empty goal. I'm way more concerned with like a mentally healthy view of positivity toward my body, in that I can look at it as I'm grateful for my body because it allows me to do what I want to do. Health is more important than size for me. How do you have so much energy? I think I'm just generally like a slightly more energetic person, and I like to stay busy. I like to have a lot of things going on. I don't like to feel bored. I don't like to have a chill day with no plans. Like, I like to have plans. This can work against me. My air has turned on if you're hearing that in the background, and it's way too hot to turn it off. It wasn't like my old house, though. Do y'all remember watching my YouTube videos at the old house? The air was so loud up there. So this hopefully will be a little bit more subtle. Anyway, so I also get a lot of sleep at night. Justin and I both really prioritize sleep. So we go to bed, like, ideally in the 9 o'clock hour. It's also not unusual for me to be like laying in my bed early on and just letting sleep come kind of soon. Staying up late always backfires for me. I'm in a horrible mood. I'm short with my kids. Staying up late is never good. So I try and prioritize sleep. I try and exercise daily. And in general, I would just say I'm kind of a more high energy person. Another question that kind of bounces off of that is, how do you have time to do everything? I don't do everything. And I think that's like poison of social media. And if you are on social and you think and believe that people that you see on social are doing everything, I'm here to tell you it's not the truth. That doesn't mean, this is a fine line, because that doesn't mean that they need to show you all the things they're not doing. It just means that you, as the consumer of their content, need to know you're seeing a fraction of their day, their life, their work, fill in the blank. So I don't do everything. I have piles around my house that get neglected. There's just so much I don't do. I will often feed my kids like a scrounge meal of frozen chicken tenders, yogurt. Like, it's not a gourmet meal cooked every night. There's a lot that I'm not able to do. So don't believe the lie that myself or any other YouTube person or blogger or influencer is doing everything. It's just not true. What's the hardest part about sharing your life online? I'd say the hardest part of sharing my life online is the people consuming it are only getting a fraction, and they don't have the ability to have any sort of context. So what I mean there is, my friends in real life see a much greater scope of what my life looks like as they're actively involved in my daily physical in-person life. My friends or social media followers are only seeing what I am choosing to put out there, so the context is often lost unless I do a good job of explaining it, but there's just so much context lost. So the hardest part is being able to be clear about what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, why you're sharing something, why you're not sharing something, while providing as much context as necessary to be able to explain the point. I hope that makes sense. Are you going to cut hair again one day? I don't think so. I don't know how that would be conducive to what I want in life, and I do miss parts of it, but I really love what I'm doing now. Would you go back to an 8 to 5 one day? So I never worked an 8 to 5. My job that I started in college, like while finishing college, was working as a booth rental stylist in a salon. So my first job out of college while still finishing college was I started my business. So I've never worked a traditional 8 to 5. I worked as a temp in college, and I worked as an assistant in a salon in college before I started my own business. But so going back to an 8 to 5 would be impossible because I've only ever worked for myself professionally. Do you get in ruts with content creation for the blog and social? I do, and a lot of that is just I have a wide range of people consuming my content, from beginners to people that want something a little bit more advanced or something a little bit more technical. So whether it's a makeup routine or a hair tutorial, I have to think about it, and this is kind of where I get stuck, like, okay, who's going to be watching this tutorial, for example? Someone that knows how to curl their hair even? Or do they need to start like from the beginning? Or is it someone that's like, no, I pretty much know how to do it all. I just want to execute like this half-up style. But I know product usage and I know all of that. So trying to guess like who my audience is for a particular piece of content takes some time, and it can like hold me into feeling like this is going to be so complicated, even though I should just put it out there and hope that it'll hit the people that it'll resonate with. And then typically from content or comments on something, I can learn, okay, that was way too confusing, or I should have done like a part 1 to that, and then this could have been part 2. So honestly, y'all's feedback really helps direct me on what's helpful, what's missing. Like in doing a makeup tutorial, I'll often get questions like, but I need to know about makeup brushes. And while I'm doing the tutorial, I'm thinking, well, everyone knows what makeup brush to use, right? Not the case. So I get in ruts with content creation because I think, gosh, I got to go all the way back to the beginning, and that can pause me from getting to like step 5 of what I want to share. Okay, how are you continuing anti-racism work in your daily life? One thing that I'm doing that I really love is I'm reading a book called One Blood. It's by Dr. John Perkins. And I'm discussing it with my friend Kathleen weekly, and it's been really good to have the accountability of knowing we're answering the study questions that come with the book. The accountability of knowing like Kathleen and I are going to talk about it. So it's not something that I could just kind of breeze through. I need to read it and think about my answer and make sure what I say my answers are my true feelings. I'm just learning so much. I have other books to read, like How to Be Anti-Racist, and I have filled my feed with a greater variety of people with different perspectives, and that's been incredibly valuable. I'm embarrassed I didn't do that sooner. I'm glad I've done it, but I'm embarrassed I didn't do that sooner. All right, we're going to shift gears here and talk about kids a little bit. Your favorite age and stage of your kids, I gotta say right now, is really enjoyable. I am not like a newborn person. I like when kids can walk around and talk. I just love seeing their personality develop. And I know with that comes like, the toddler, the terrible twos or whatever. And there's always challenges in each age and stage. But I'm really enjoying my kids where they are right now, which is 6, 5, and 2. So I would say in general, I love when they're walking and are starting to talk, and I get to see like their preferences and things they enjoy. That's really fun for me. I get to kind of see their personality. I love a baby every once in a while, but the newborn stage was not where I thrived. Do you want more kids? I would say I'm very content and happy with 3. 3 was kind of always my number, so I'm elated that I was given 3 kids, and I love them. What is it like to have 3 kids? 3 is a lot. To go from 2 to 3 was a real game changer for our family. Now, my 2 boys, it goes boy, boy, girl. My 2 boys are only 14 months apart. So David, my eldest, was 6 months old when I got pregnant with Luke, my second boy. And so it was crazy in the beginning. And I feel like Justin and I got into a good groove, though. Like, we kind of had 2 babies. And we've treated them like twins a lot, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. And not intentionally. I think they just do a lot of the same things. They're like a little over 1 year apart. But having the 3rd kid, and not that Emmy's a hard baby. She didn't sleep well, but she was in general like a pretty content, happy baby. 3 was just like you're outnumbered. I mean, it's what you all hear. Instead of going man-to-man defense, you're doing zone defense. And it feels like adding a 3rd is actually adding like 6 more children. How do you stay calm with the kids? I don't always stay calm with the kids. This kind of circles back to the answer I gave y'all earlier about how do you do everything. I don't. But in general, I try and think about how they're experiencing something. I do that a lot in life with my friends, with my husband, with my children, with my family. I think about like before I react to something, I try and take a second and think, what is their experience of this? Like, am I not considering their perspective enough before I react to it out of the way I feel? So I'm not always calm with the kids, but in general, we've major on communication. I try and set them up for success in telling them, like, here's what the day holds, guys. We talk about daily chores. We talk about, we're going to do this for lunch. We pretty much follow the same routine every day with some flexibility, of course. So they feel like, okay, I know what the day holds. I know what to look forward to. I know what I have to do. So there's not a lot of mystery involved in our day-to-day life, and I think the kids really thrive with that. So the last few questions about Justin and I, y'all asked a lot of personal questions. I think I may have put that in the question box. But anyway, what have you learned from quarantine? I learned that I don't need as much as I thought I did to stay content during the week. I stay very busy. I like to be busy, and everything got really simple and slow. And I appreciated that to some degree. There were certainly times that I'm like, I'm bored out of my mind. I need some variety. I got to do something. I got to have some plans. And at this point now, this started in March, it's July. I'm finding myself wanting things to look forward to. But in general, quarantine taught me like simple life, simple meals, basic needs are good. How's Justin and what does Justin do? Justin's good. He is healthy and good. What does Justin do? Justin started his own business. He runs Raleigh UAV. It's a drone business. He started it a couple years ago, and so he'll take photos for real estate. He has worked with some government agencies in the past, and it's very flexible, which is good for him to be able to spend a lot of time with the kids to give me time to work on my career. The next question is, do you and Justin fight? You know what? We're really not fighters. We will have disagreements, but it's always like a conversation, and it can be emotional, but we don't yell at each other. And I don't know if I look back at any of the times, even our most like emotional discussion, I would not call that a fight. It was just like both of us expressing our disappointment in how something went down, for example. Okay, this question is, what is your favorite thing about Justin? Justin and I have been married 10 years. To provide some context there, he and I are both really different. My favorite thing about him, my favorite thing about Justin is that he always thinks of the bigger picture, and he's very thoughtful with every step and every decision he makes. And I can be a little bit more flippant in some decision making, so I like that I can count on him to have thought through the whole process of something and to make the decision that he feels like, I've thought about it, I've considered the factors, and I feel good about this decision. And so I get to just kind of cruise and being like, what do you feel? You feel that? Okay, I respect your decision making skills in this realm because you think about it a lot more than I do, so sounds good to me. I'm pretty easygoing, and I'm thankful that I can leave like a lot of the heavy lifting to him. The last question is, do you nap? And this made me laugh, so I thought it would be funny to end on. I would say no, I don't nap. I napped during the first trimester of all my pregnancies, but I'm just not a napping person. I always feel worse after a nap than before. Like it doesn't refresh me like it does other people. So no. Okay, so those were a bunch of the more personal kind of life questions that y'all asked me. It's been a while since I've done one of these Q&As, so let me know if you enjoyed it. You can hit the thumbs up button right below the video on YouTube. Let me know if you liked this side. I often talk about beauty products and do monthly favorite videos and that sort of thing, but and those are often beauty focused. But I thought I talk so much on stories on Instagram and share more of my heart on the blog, and not often here on YouTube. So I wanted to make this video for those of you watching on YouTube. Be sure to follow on Instagram if you aren't already. There's tons of beauty content over there and just day in the life stuff going on in stories, and a lot of tutorials on IGTV as well. So if you're here for tutorials on YouTube, be sure to check out the ones I have on IGTV as well.